Guys, I broke my glasses and now I have to wear my old ones. You know, awful. I don't like these.
Hey, Katie, where are you?
I'm right here.
We got a letter today from the school. Here.
There you go, baby. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. I wonder who it's from.
Kaylee, I just said it's from the school.
Did John bring it?
No, Don delivers packages, not letters, baby.
You know, when the women on our street see Don's truck, they all come out like cockroaches. Yeah, it's like turning on a light, and they're just everywhere.
Yeah, they all like Don.
Yep, they do.
Well, at any rate, it's your report card, and you did really good.
Of course I did. Like I said, guys, I get my new glasses back by next week. They gotta fix them. Oh, I gotta tell it's time for my mom. So I had to keep it short. I love you.
Here comes your mom.
Oh, here's my mom.
Hey everybody, how you doing today? My name's Vicki King and welcome to King Gong Crazy. Today, we're going to go over creepy military story. Here we go.
This is one of the scariest ghost stories I've heard, so now everyone's got to hear it. Back in 2003, there was this group of deployed American Marines who got moved into abandoned military housing that was dubbed Ghost Town. It got the name because apparently the first group of Marines that lived there only made it a week before they couldn't live there anymore. They said they couldn't sleep the entire time they were there. Like all night they would hear the sounds of children laughing, of like footsteps upstairs when there was no one there. I talk about it this week on the podcast, but one night the new group that had moved in had to go out and patrol the area. So they're walking through the neighborhood, like past a bunch of abandoned houses, and then all of a sudden, one of the Marines just starts screaming. He throws his weapon down and just takes off running, like through enemy territory with no weapon. So half of the Marines chase after him, and then the other half turn around to see what he was screaming at. They said that behind them, there was this creature that looked like a shadow come to life. It was really tall and skinny, but they said it had these bright, glowing red eyes. But before they knew what to do, it just vanished. The craziest part is that multiple other people have reported seeing this exact creature like in the area. If you want to hear more of these stories, you've got to check out the podcast this week.
Wow. Does anyone know where this was? I'm going to have to look it up. Pretty interesting.
Killed my entire platoon after confusing them for the enemy. My name is Staff Sergeant Johnson, and this is my horrifying story. It was 2018, and I, as on my second deployment to Afghanistan. My platoon of 9 guys was stationed in a small village that had some Taliban activity. One day while on patrol, I came across some mushrooms. At the time, I didn't realize that they were different from the kind of mushrooms you would put on your pizza. After about an hour, I got back to base and saw it had been overrun by Taliban fighters. I hid behind a nearby wall and called in an airstrike on the location of the base. 2 minutes later, I heard the jet flying overhead and made a run for it. The base exploded into smithereens, and then I went back to make sure all the Taliban fighters were dead. By this time, the mushrooms started to wear off, and that's when I realized the horrible mistake I had made. These were no Taliban fighters. This was my platoon. My mind started racing 1,000,000 miles per minute, and I could not handle the gravity of the situation. So I pulled out my weapon and ended my own life.
Oh my God.
Rest in peace to all of my platoon members. Follow.
Oh, wow. I did not expect that. We really need to respect our military men and women. They go through a lot.
Hi, my name is Scott. I'm a former United States Marine. I'm also a medium, a psychic, and a paranormal investigator. You want to hear a ghost story about when I was in the service? I got one, and it's pretty good. I was going to put on my Marine Corps cover, but it's not where I thought it was. Anyway, be accountable for your gear. Let's get to the ghost story. It's October 2005. I'm in North Carolina training. If you'll remember, this is the same time when Katrina had just went through New Orleans. Why is that important? Because it was a really bad hurricane season. It was really rainy, and unfortunately, all of the training had gotten backed up for recruits graduating from Paris Island and going to Camp Lejeune, where we train on Camp Johnson and Camp Devil Dog. For all those not in the military or don't know what Devil Dog means, it's nothing bad. Well, it is if you're the enemy of the Marine Corps. I'll explain that some other time. That has nothing to do with the ghost story. Anyway, they had us backed up, and it had been raining pretty much the entire time we were there. And we had to sleep in these really big, basically wooden, screened-in porches, I guess is the best way to put it. Plywood floors, plywood walls, screen windows, maybe with some shutters on them if I remember right, and the kind of springy open doors that let you out into the yard when you were little. You remember you push the door open, it would smack you in the face if you didn't get out fast? Yes, that kind of stuff. So it was a long night. We had just done training. We got to our rack, this room that we're laying in. It's a bunch of Marines laying on the floor in sleeping bags. And it's the middle of the night, and it's super stormy. One of these hurricane type storms is rolling through. And we just have to bunker down and hold it down. But then something really weird happened. All right, just remember, this is like 25 to 30 Marines laying in one room on the floor. Our feet are touching each other pretty much. There's no room for movement in this place. I got woke up by the guy next to me, and he's like, "Hey, wake up, man." And I don't even know if I knew this guy. We just were sleeping next to each other. Marine Corps is fun. And he's like, "Yo, wake up. Look across from us." And maybe like 10 feet away from us or so, I see this little boy, and it's not a shadow. This is like a little boy, like 5, 6, 7 years old or so. And he's standing, and he's bent over, and he's looking down at one of the other Marines. And he's just standing there. And me and this other guy look at each other, and I'm like, "Dude, that's weird, man." He's like, "Yeah, let's get up and check. Get her, Ray. That was your plan. Get her." Yeah, that was his plan. So as we stand up, so does the little boy. He stands upright, and he kind of turns and looks at us, and then turns and at a strange, ungodly speed runs down the hallway. That's a bad way to put it. Like the gap between where like feet were, and ran towards the door busts open as he goes out, and me and this other guy are like 2 seconds behind this little boy, and we get outside, and there's another Marine standing there, and we're like, "Yo, did you see that?" And he's like, "See what?" And that's just...
I've heard many, many stories from Camp Lejeune. 29 Palms is another one that I've heard a lot of stories from. If you have any military stories about creepy stuff, let me know. I want to know.
Facts Part 2.
George H.W. Bush was almost eaten by cannibals. His plane was shot down during a bombing raid against Japan. He was picked up by allies, but all the other men on the same raid were captured by Japanese officers who ate them. Prisoners of war in Russian camps experienced an 85% mortality rate. Germany only declared war on one country during World War II, and that was the United States of America. Japan and Russia have still not signed a treaty for the end of World War II. After the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, Canada declared war on Japan before the United States did.
Did you know George Bush was almost eaten by cannibals? I didn't know that. The Giants of Kandahar.
Kandahar, Afghanistan, 2002. A military special forces team claims to have killed a Nephilim giant. The year is 2002, exact date unknown. An army squad goes missing while patrolling the rocky and mountainous terrains of Kandahar, Afghanistan. Assuming the worst, a potential ambush, a special forces team is sent out to investigate what happened to these soldiers. While investigating their last known location, they notice something very odd. A bunch of different pieces of military equipment broken and scattered throughout the dirt. Assuming it's a potential ambush, the Army Special Forces members are all completely on guard. Until they notice something even more strange. Numerous human and animal bones scattered all throughout the dirt, everywhere. Some of the bones were broken, and some of them had what appeared to be bite marks in them. Because of this, they assumed that it was some sort of wild animal that might have done this. But sadly, it was something far worse.
I think I heard about this one on Mr. Ballin.
The Special Forces team slowly creeps closer and closer towards the entrance of the cave. And as the Special Forces team members are just about to enter the cave, at astonishing speeds, a giant humanoid creature sprints out of the cave and skewers one of the team members with what appears to be a javelin, unaliving the soldier almost instantly. The Special Forces members were completely stunned due to how quickly everything transpired and how surreal this whole situation was. And then they all just started completely unloading on this giant, shooting it in the body and then eventually the head once they figured out that the body shots were not doing anything to this giant with Barrett 50 cals and different calibers of different rifles. Until they finally managed to take it down with 30 seconds of sustained gunfire.
So what did they do with it?
They called back into base for evac, they told them what happened, and they told them about the body of the giant. So a helicopter was sent out to transport the giant back to the US. The helicopter took the body to an airfield to load it on a cargo plane to take it back to the US. And that's where we get this depiction here from of a giant strapped down to a pallet ready to be transported back to the US. They claim that after the body of the giant was dead for a while, it started to rot and it absolutely stunk. They said that it had red hair and 6 fingers and 6 toes, and it weighed over 1,000 pounds. To some of you out there, I'm sure this sounds like some sort of fairy tale, something way too far-fetched to be real, just a story. But from what I've heard and what I've read, this might not be just a story. You can even find an interview on YouTube, if it's still up, of someone who claims that he was on that Special Forces team on that fateful day, and telling all of us what really happened that day, and that someone really did pass on into the next life on that mission. And if you were to go to Kandahar, Afghanistan to this day and talk to the locals about the red-haired giant, they tell you about the giant and how he terrorized them and how he would eat people and how he would take them away to his cave. And if you're lucky, you might know someone who's in the military around this time that can tell you about the story themselves and what they heard. What do you all think? Let me know in the comments. Maybe giants really do still roam the earth.
That is so cool. I mean, not that someone died. No, that's not cool. I'm just saying the body's here somewhere. It's got to be here in a military base somewhere. Huh. Weird. Military officer explains alien.
See him like
Draw a small gray.
small gray. Yeah.
That's not.
Are these the aliens that you've seen?
That is not gray.
No, but
Which ones did you see?
yeah, these right here, the small gray. They have a little
had a
different
mouth?
How do they breathe?
They have nostrils, but they don't.
Do they breathe oxygen?
Yes, they can breathe oxygen. The atmosphere on their planet is very similar, but it's a binary star system, so they have like 2 suns, which makes the air a lot drier. Their skin is their bones are more fragile than ours. But they kind of look like that.
What's their body look like?
Their bodies, well, I've only seen
Do they
them
walk around naked? Do they wear clothes? What do they do?
Yeah, the chicks have boobs.
How do they?
On their home planet. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Now, see, they didn't. I'm reading this that exchange program that Steven Spielberg explained at the end of Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Draw a female up there.
Well, I don't know. They look the same.
How do you tell male from a female?
EBE-1 is a female. The one, was a female.
Draw the other one. This is the gray. Draw all 3 of them.
And then there's another one, which is actually a clone. Looks something similar, but it has they have large pointy noses. And these right here are the tall whites, and they're actually a clone created by the small grays.
Are they
They're like servants.
What's the angry ones look like? The reptile ones that you were talking about?
They have small eyes.
Yeah, we actually saw those in Battle LA.
They got weapons.
They have a heart.
It's so cool. They have weapons.
They're kind of like an onion.
Are they evil? How tall are those right there?
These guys right here, and they're all humanoids. So they both walk on 2 legs. They all walk on 2 legs. This thing right here is huge. They're actually they're taller than us. They stand about 6 foot something on an average to 7 foot. The one image that I have seen of them, they're huge. Like they have a very strong build.
Door is closed. This is what I wanted to hear. Let's hear feedback. You believe everything that he said? Oh yeah, me too. Definitely.
I believe him. I believe him. On the battlefield?
Way back, like in the 1960s, Vietnam War, the American military, they invented like night vision goggles, but they had the red night vision goggles. It wasn't the green one like what we have today. So these new goggles were issued to like military troops. This whole thing took place like within 60 days of from it being given to them, those guys, to them cutting the whole shit out because they said these people were they're freaking out. They're seeing weird shit now. And imagine that, like you're fighting war, right? But you have these goggles on at night, and then you're seeing things that looks like, like evil monsters and you're like, hey, hold on, that doesn't look like a Vietnamese guy. That looks like a straight up, like a damn Jersey Devil and shit. Like this one guy was in a helicopter just shooting at Vietnamese people. They said, "What are you shooting at?" It's like all these demons out here. He said he was spraying all these demons. Pilot was like, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, what are you shooting at?" What?
Do you think night vision goggles can make you see demons, spirit? Huh? I don't know, but there was a scientist on TikTok who said that if you buy the 3D glasses and you put the red and the blue together, you'll be able to see the UFOs in the sky if you put it on your camera or on your phone, on the camera on your phone and look through it. It doesn't work. Don't do it. I wasted some money on those. The 3D glasses, I mean. A fallen soldier still stuck in battle. Terrible.
Yo ho, all hands hoist the cup.
I would hope that none of the military guys get stuck like that. That's very sad. Spend eternity still fighting a war. Sad. That's all I have for this one. Thanks for hanging out with me today and watching my videos. If you could, give me a like and subscribe. I could really, really use it. I'm trying to get myself out there. I'll see you next time, guys. Have a great day.